slow down, you never get old. I'm tired of screwing up, I'm tired of going down, I'm tired of myself, I'm tired of this town. Oh my, oh hell yes. Honey, put on that party dress, buy me a drink, sing me a song, take me as I come, cause I can't stay long.
Welcome to the first annual Lancaster Hemp Harvest Rally. That's right, you heard correct. We intend to do this every year until long after we are celebrating our very own hemp harvest right here in Lancaster County. But that's why we're here. We're here to celebrate the harvest, a joyous occasion. We are in new times, a new era. Freedom has arrived. We embrace it. We celebrate it. We declare it. Let's hear it for freedom! The harvest is here. Last week, Ryan Laughlin invited members of the public, and around 45 people showed up from all over the country to help with the historic hemp harvest, the first legal American hemp harvest since 1958. Ryan is actually one of around 24 farmers who have gone ahead and planted and harvested hemp in Colorado. Next year, Kentucky will grow hemp, and more will be grown in Colorado, and there is word that perhaps Vermont and Oregon will give it a go too. Hemp is breaking out all over America, and we come together right here in the center of what was once the epicenter of America's premier hemp growing region to demand that we put the hemp back in Hempfield and end this insane prohibition of cannabis and hemp in Pennsylvania. 20 years ago, people told me that they would never re-legalize hemp in America. Yet here we are. Hemp is legal in America. Well, not completely, but it seems that the states who have made it legal to grow hemp will be allowed to go forward. Meanwhile, back here in Pennsylvania, we've got helicopters flying over Amish cornfields at a cost of who knows how many millions to see if anyone's trying to sneak in some of that green corn. But as I stand here today, I think back to where we were just a short year ago and how far we've come in that time. 1 year ago from today, some of us were getting hopeful that Oregon and Colorado and Washington could possibly re-legalize cannabis on Election Day. We were optimistic and we were getting some big dreams. Some of us could see that those victories in Colorado and Washington would set off a chain reaction of events that would eventually lead to the permanent end of cannabis and hemp prohibition in America, and therefore the world. On May 4th, we gathered here on Penn Square for the Lancaster Hemp Rally, and we were 250 strong. The smoke down in Philadelphia had grown to over 500 on April 20th. We knew we had momentum, and the wind was in our sails. We saw them getting more active in Pittsburgh and throughout the state. On May 18th, there was a pushback, and they tried to shut down the smoke downs, but we did not give up. We kept on pushing through and let them know that we can't be stopped, and we will never give up. On July 6th, we launched the Hemp Freedom Tour right here in Lancaster. We had a great rally despite the police trying to shut us down. We were about 150 people strong on a hot day, and our message was heard throughout a wide area. We received great coverage in the Lancaster Sunday News again at WGAL Channel 8 News. We knew we were on the right track. We took the rally to York and gathered on Continental Square for the York Hemp Freedom Rally. Fox 43 and Channel 121 News covered the rally, and so did the York Dispatch and the York Daily Record and several other blogs. After the success in York, in July, we announced the Reading Hemp Freedom Rally in August. The press coverage for that event was great too, in the Reading Eagle and on TV News. Altogether, with the coverage our rallies we received, we made our message known to over 1 million people in Pennsylvania. Also this summer, we got news of John Hanger, a compassionate man running for governor of Pennsylvania. John has a 3-step program starting out with medical cannabis and decriminalization, leading to full legalization by 2017, which, if he wins, will be 2 years into his administration. That is why I throw my full support behind John Hanger and urge all of you to do the same. Remember the name John Hanger. Register to vote, and let's make John Hanger the next governor of Pennsylvania. And later we'll be hearing from John Hanger's chief county coordinator, Dave Matson, over here. So right around this time of year, in October, was the traditional time of the hemp harvest in Pennsylvania. How many of you here know that East and West Hempfield Township was named for the vast quantity of hemp raised there? That's right. Between the years of 1720 and 1870, there were over 100 water-powered mills for processing hemp fiber in Lancaster County and dozens more mills in all of the surrounding counties. They used that fiber for grain bags, ropes, nets, rugs, curtains, Conestoga wagon covers, tablecloths, handkerchiefs, napkins, towels, sheets, chaff bags for bedding, dresses, pants, shoes, hats, and everything up to fine linen. When their clothes wore out, they were recycled in the local paper mills, of which there were many in this area. There were almost as many oil mills for processing oil from the many tons of excess hemp seed as there were mills for processing the fiber. That hemp seed oil was used in lubricants, paints and varnishes, lacquers, printer's ink, and lamp oil. The seed cake was fed to the livestock. In addition to consuming vast quantities of hemp right here in Lancaster County, we sent great quantities of hemp too to Philadelphia, also to be used in the shipping industry. Every ship that sailed the seas took up to 60 tons of hemp fiber for the big thick anchor cables, all the rope rigging and the canvas sails. That was all made out of hemp, and all that hemp had to be replaced every few years, thus ensuring an enormous and insatiable demand for hemp from the interior of Pennsylvania, and Lancaster County supplied much of that hemp. Hemp was grown by all of our early ancestors, here on virtually every farm. In 1794, George Washington visited a hemp mill in Paradise Township. Ben Franklin noted our hemp production, and so did Thomas Paine. There is no doubt we are going to put the hemp back in Hempfield and allow for sick patients to use cannabis for medicine, and responsible adults will be able to consume cannabis for whatever purpose they want. They'll be able to smoke cannabis at future hemp harvest rallies, and that is when we will know that we have finally won.
On this earth, natural or man-made, that holds the power to heal our bodies, expand our consciousness, put food on our tables, clothes on our backs, fuel in our tanks, oxygen in our air, and paper in our printers. It is also proven to have the power to bring people together in a profound way. Through my involvement with this movement, I've met amazing people, people that I would not have met any other way. People from all walks of life with amazing stories and backgrounds. People that I am proud to call my friends, and some that I even consider family.
The next speaker is the foremost hemp activist in Pennsylvania. And he also makes the world's best hemp pretzels called Hempsels. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it a warm round of applause for Sean Patrick House of Hempsels.
Hey, hey, hey. As Les said, I was set up as the Pennsylvania Hemp Industries Information Association in '97 at Acres USA, talking about hemp, trying to sell Ohio hempery lip balm and soaps and lotions, and dealing with people that were making hemp products in California with imported hemp seed. And I also met Ralph Amato, R.I.P. He was the originator of Hempsel pretzels, and he had come down the day before Les did, because he saw us in the newspaper talking about hemp. And I got turned on to hemp by seeing somebody's t-shirt, some hippie. We were at a concert, I don't know where, down in Philadelphia, and all these things that you could make from this plant. And I'm going to be 50 years old here in October, and so more than half my years I've known about cannabis. I've been familiar with all that stuff, and there's no fear, and that's what this is all about. But anyways, when we started doing research and finding out that they called it the new billion-dollar crop in 1937, the wheels started turning. And you're like, damn, you know, in a complicated world today, we can make things simple. You know, everybody's on their iPad and everything else, and we're talking about industry, and they're talking about electronics, but what if the electric goes out? But we take these seeds and we plant these seeds, and we create cellulose that makes plastics and resins, and you can see about Henry Ford and the hemp car, and yada, yada, yada. But I eventually bought the business from Ralph when they were just making these crunchy, hard sourdough pretzels. And between 2000 and 2004, the government was trying to ban hemp foods. I don't know if you guys remember that, but they were saying any THC in any hemp food was illegal. And so Rhubarb's market didn't want to buy the products. You know, and that was a scary thing. Thanks to Dr. Bronner's, people that had deep pockets, I was a signatory to a suit against the DEA because it was illegal. If you want to pass a law, go through Congress. Don't use an executive order as the DEA was trying to do, to say any hemp foods and any THC in any hemp food would be illegal. It's preposterous. Get yourself a good lawyer, and he'll tell you that 0.000001 means that you're going to test high for cannabis. And this is another thing. I'm not an expert, but I have a lot of experience, and I like to share some of this stuff with me. Drop the word marijuana. Okay, if you're with your friends and your posse, and you want to talk, and you're going to share something spiritual, that's fine. But to me, it's like using the N-word for people of color. I don't use it. I don't recommend using it. Cannabis is medicine. Through my research, and I've been collecting for years, I have a cough syrup bottle from Pelham, Pennsylvania. They use cannabis in it. It was used as an expectorant. I have a tincture from Norristown, Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia. They said cannabis indica. They even defined the variety of the seed that went in there. When the government, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, wanted to use hemp curds for paper making in 1916, and you can see that through the Emperor Wears No Clothes book, they said hemp curds. They didn't say marijuana herds, and they didn't say cannabis. So there is a difference between the agricultural use of hemp, which I'm interested in for our farmers, for fiber, seed, and oil, because we want to put it in our pretzels, our mustard, our granola bars. We make a nut butter from the seed that's a peanut butter substitute. And all these products you can get at Lemon Street Market, you can get at Miller's Natural Health Food Store, you can get at Rhubarb's Market, our sourdough pretzels and mustard. Stouffer's of Kissel Hill has our mustard at their location. Omar at Safe's Mideastern Foods puts a hemp seed that we sell him on his cookies. So everybody of culture knows what hemp's about. The Germans know it as hemp. The French know it as chanvre. The Japanese know it as asa. The Chinese know it as jit ma. When I'm selling hemp pretzels, the guys are like, am I going to eat your pretzels and get high? And I'm like, geez, ooh. So 15 or plus years we've been talking about this and sowing seeds, and these seeds are taking root. Just like the young lady said before, all the work that Les has been doing, this is about relationships. I'm not here to force our farmers to grow hemp. I want to persuade them that we need more than corn, switchgrass, tobacco, and wheat. We need hemp. We need other rotation crops to keep nutrients back in the soil, especially crops that are non-GMO, just like we're going to go up here and speak with the GMO folks against GMOs. In that aspect too, I'm not for the government labeling GMOs or forcing you. I know that our hemp soft pretzels have no GMO in the wheat, but I don't want the government be telling me, got to go see if it's GMO or not. You guys are supporting us by buying our products, and you trust what we're doing. And if I make a bad product, I'm not going to be in business very long. So our goal is to contract with the Pennsylvania farmers. I would encourage you to come up to the Pennsylvania Farm Show in January. We've been doing this for I think this will be our 10th year set up. Les will be working. He'll be one of my master bakers, hustling out the pretzels and talking about hemp. But you can see hemp car parts. You can see hemp concrete. You can see him harvesting hemp. You can taste a great hemp soft pretzel, which I think beats Annie Ann's. I think it beats J&J. Our soft pretzel tests for 13 grams of protein. And why? Because it's wheat and with the hemp seed, hemp flour, and hemp oil. And our soft pretzel has 1 milligram of omega-3. There's no soft pretzels in the market that have that. So what we're doing is adding value to traditional products. I'm not reinventing the wheel, and that's why I said in a complicated world, let's make it simple. You want to send a signal to the Democrats, you want to send a signal to the Republicans, register libertarian. The people will shit their pants, because that means you're not consenting to what these guys are promising to do that they should have did in 1972, when they should have listened to our conservative Republican Governor Schaefer when he said de-emphasize marijuana as a problem. And what did Richard Nixon do? He threw that report out and classified all cannabis, agriculture as well as horticulture, as a Schedule I narcotic, and created this war on drugs. Okay, so this should be a no-brainer. I was 10 years old when that happened. And that was 40 years ago. That should be a no-brainer. But we don't want the Drug Enforcement Agency in control of cannabis or hemp. Go back to the Department of Agriculture, go back to the local level. 3 things to be careful about, because politics is control. And the politicians have been working behind the scenes for a while. The argument has always been, well, if we could just take the THC out of cannabis, then it should be hunky-dory. Well, then they're playing you into GMOing. They're playing you into Monsanto's thing. Give it to Monsanto, let Monsanto GMO the seed, and then you guys won't be getting high when we're growing hemp. Which again is just baloney. You know, we're all adults, so we should be adults. And this is part of the Just Say No campaign, which is KNOW for knowledge, not NO for ignorance like Nancy Reagan started in 1982. Okay, be an adult. Don't be a ding-dong and smoke cigarettes, but if you want to go smoke cigarettes, go for it. Somebody's got to pay for health care. I choose not to smoke that stuff. We don't want to do what the Canadians are doing. I love what the Canadians are doing. I get my hemp seed from Canada. But it's got to be 20-acre minimum. And they're talking about if you want to grow hemp or cannabis, you got to get thumbprinted. And got to be satellite. Again, to me, that's bullshit. It adds more cost and it treats you like a child. It treats you like you're in the police state. This is an agricultural crop, Genesis 1:29. God made every seed-bearing plant to be meat to man. Okay, and it's man's prohibitionist mentality that has got us where we are today, where we spent billions of dollars. It's crazy. So we don't want to repeat what everybody else is doing. And I like what the guys and my brethren on the West Coast are saying. Hey, if we could grow hemp or cannabis, we can tax it. And my thing is, it's like giving money to a crack addict. The government doesn't spend the money right. We drive cars and we pay gas taxes, but they don't fix the roads. It goes into the big slush fund. If you think that you're going to get any break by the government taxing and regulating it, it's just going to be the same amount that you're paying under the table, and you're going to be paying $30 taxes, and it's going to go into the big slush fund. It's not going to be taking care of the problems. And that's where I'm coming from as a libertarian, and that's why I'm suggesting register libertarian, because we want to take a hold of this thing away from the Republicans and Democrats. We're going to drag this out another 40 years. By the time my 7-year-old is 17, that's too late. We got to do things now. So I want to thank everybody for listening to my rant and rave, and come to the Pennsylvania Farm Show. Look us up on hempsels.com, Facebook us. My number is 1-800-USE-HEMP. The goal is to contract with our Pennsylvania farmers. I think it can happen in more than 5 years. I think we can do it in 2014. Okay, and a couple more things. I met with Senator Brubaker. I met with Senator Fulmer. What I asked the Senator Fulmer is make a statement like you did with raw milk. You don't have to come out and say, we got to pass a law, blah, blah, blah. Just say, I am in favor of agriculture, industrial hemp, medicinal cannabis. Everyone else in the Senate should be part of that and just say no. He didn't do it. He wouldn't do it. So what I'm asking you is contact Senator Fulmer. Ask him, why aren't you doing that? Senator Brubaker was the same way. I had a sit down with him up in Harrisburg. It was me and one of the liaisons for the police department, state police department. What happens is they have all the money. I've been struggling for years. I don't have the money. I could have quit a long time ago, but I see the light at the end of the rainbow here. But the onus of Senator Brubaker was, well, how do we know if we're growing hemp, they're not going to put a marijuana plant in that thing? And I'm like, geez, it's going through the Department of Agriculture. You know everything that everybody's growing. Why are you putting that onus on me and delaying? And that's all this has been, is a delay tactic, because politics is control. And that's what they want to know. The guys are lining up in the back room, figuring out how to tax and regulate, and keeping the small guy out of it that's going to want to grow hemp. If you want to grow 1 acre of hemp, that should be your right. Not 20 acres of hemp, because that's getting into corporate agriculture, and that's where this story's going. And that's why I'm saying, wake up. Thank you for coming out. Help us free the seed, because it's the seed you need, the seed we all need in all varieties. And don't be fearful. Just say no. Thank you very much.
Sean House, foremost hemp activist in the state. Thanks for coming, Sean.
This is a wonderfully informative book. it really teaches everybody a little bit about hemp and where it actually came from in the world. It does come from Asia and was probably originally cultivated in India and China. There's different varieties of hemp throughout the world, but it soon grew all over the world. Please think about growing industrial hemp. That is the love of my life, industrial hemp. Why, I have no idea, because believe me, I'm not a farmer. I'm not even from Pennsylvania. I'm from New York State. So, I mean, but I understand what Mother Nature gave us, and it shouldn't be violated by these politicians saying it's an evil, evil weed. It is not. It's not an evil weed. It's something God gave man to help him. There's so many disorders that can help. It's not even funny. So please, hit your legislators right and left, because now is the time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sharon. Sharon Nichols. All right. Our next speaker has a really heart-wrenching story, and she's going to tell you about her daughter. She's been featured in local news stories, and she's going to explain everything that, you know, better than I can. But give it up for Dana Ulrich.
Hey everybody, thank you for coming out. Thank you, Les, for giving everybody the platform to speak on here today. Let me just say, I'm a mother who proudly is advocating for the use of medical cannabis for my 6-year-old daughter. If anybody out there, let me hear it. If you have a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, a niece, a nephew, a child, anybody in your life that could be impacted by the use of medical cannabis for their family member. Let me hear it. Let me hear it. My daughter, again, I said, is 6 years old. She was diagnosed 4 years ago at the age of 2 with epilepsy, and she has had no medications that have helped her. We've gone through a myriad of medications, as well as a ketogenic diet, which, if any of you don't know what that is, it is absolute sin on a plate. The journey that I'm on right now, I mean, I've always been a supporter of cannabis. It's always been a part of my life. I feel like it should be a part of everybody's life, whether it be through hemp for textiles, whether it be through the use of medicine. It should be a part of everybody's life. And the fact that our lawmakers, we should call them hope takers, are taking that away from us and our children and our family members is an absolute abomination. The medications that she has taken over the years, not only have they not worked, but they also create side effects for her that are awful. They're just awful. I just don't know how to explain to you what these children go through that have these medications that, you know, they claim THC, it's psychoactive. We can't have that in PA. The medications that they're getting already are psychoactive. It's a bogus excuse at the very, very least. The developmental side effects of many of these drugs, many of the effects of the conditions that they suffer from themselves, they're already depleting their developmental capabilities anyway. The holes that these politicians have in this story are wide enough to put a car through. Medical cannabis could be the answer for so many people suffering from so many chronic illnesses, pain, cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, epilepsy, PTSD, for our veterans that are coming home from war, a war that they're fighting for us. And we're saying, no, you can't have a medication that can make you sleep at night, that can make you feel comfortable in your own skin. And we're saying no to our veterans. It's just not okay. It's just not okay at all. You know, as far as the war on drugs, it's lost. It's a failed war. They're saying it's going to get in the wrong hands. It's going to get in the wrong hands of kids and adults that just shouldn't be using it. Well, guess what? It's already in the wrong hands. Why don't we do something about this? Legalize it, regulate it, make sure it is in the right hands. We have to do something to make these lawmakers stand up and do what's right for all of us in PA. Absolutely all of us in PA. This is about the daughters and sons of so many people. This is about the husbands and wives and aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters that I spoke about before. We need to get this legalized in PA. And everybody needs to call their legislators, write letters, do whatever you need to do to make your voices heard. Thank you very much for your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for local Lancaster comic, Jeremy Knoll.
Thank you, Les. Stop paying taxes on weed. That's what we need to do. I know, Les wanted me to come and tell jokes, but I think that guy over there is way funnier. I gotta say, I do feel a little bit weird telling jokes in like the middle of the day. Normally I play to drunks and bars, so. I mean, like I've played to potheads before, but normally it's in a smoky basement. I was, like Les said, I was born and raised here in Lancaster County, and it's weird doing comedy and traveling to other states and telling people that, because I normally run into one person who's like, oh, you're from Lancaster. Are you Amish? I was like, no, I'm not Amish. Do you do that with people from other parts of the country? You're like, oh, you're from Jersey. Are you a douchebag? Or, oh, you're from Kentucky. Is your mother your sister? Oh, you're from Seattle. Did your parents kill themselves? Like, no, I'm not Amish. I mean, I know I have a beard and I'm from Lancaster. If you're such an expert in Amish culture, you know they don't have mustaches, they don't dress like this, and they sure as shit don't drive a Nissan Altima, you prick. I'll tell one more joke before I get out of here. Like, sometimes I have a lot of trouble falling asleep. So in order to get to sleep, I'll take a couple of acetaminophen and then I'll go drop a deuce. I call that taking a Tylenol BM. No, I'm just kidding. I smoke weed. Smoke weed. That's what we do.
You're already, probably, I gotta warn you about something you've already noticed about me. Probably like, the people walking by who were being jerks and making fun of us earlier would probably be like, oh gosh, that chick, they can't even hire stoners that don't have lisps. Which is mean, that's just mean. I don't have a lisp, everybody. I was raised by snakes. Or, Harry Potter fans, you can call me a parcel tongue if you want, it's okay. Yes. Slytherin! That's how I meet the fellas. Say that. I am slightly nervous. I got in some trouble with the Johnny Law in Lancaster, in Hempfield Township, ironically, earlier. I got a DUI. And I think that in the vein of this cause, I think it's important to mention that what everybody can do legally is get drunk. And that's awful. That's awful. Have you ever regretted something that you've done when you were stoned? Really? I mean, maybe you've made some bad eating decisions. But, you know, that's just experimenting. It's getting back to your evolutionary roots of hunting and gathering. It's good. I like to imagine a Venn diagram for myself. Hypothetically, again, Johnny Law, hypothetically, there's one side, which is me when I'm drunk, and comes home and passes out, wakes up grumpy and dehydrated and hating her wife. And on the other side, there's getting stoned, where I write myself a note motivating me to get up in the morning. Dear Lindsay or Lucille, happy Thursday. I know you're probably tired because you stayed up watching Jimmy Kimmel and that awful Kanye West interview. But drink some coffee, it's gonna be a good day. That's what I do when I'm stoned. That's a better way to be.
I was at one of these rallies a couple of months ago and I got this bracelet that says marijuana is medicine. And I tend to agree with that. But it's also a lot of fun, am I right? Yeah. Medicine, I don't know though, because to be honest, you can't overdose on marijuana, unlike a lot of medicines. Like aspirin is a medicine, you can overdose on that, and that's legal. And I don't think that's right. But I was unemployed all summer, so which means I got to get a little bit more acquainted with my medicine. Like, I'm trying to get this movement started. Columbus Day is a great drinking holiday. Because on Columbus Day, you can walk in any bar and act like you own the place. Just walk right in there. They're like, hey, welcome to Molly's. Like, nope, I'm calling this place Patterson's. Because I discovered it. Now get me a drink, you filthy savage.
Give me all your silver, your Bacardi silver, and your Goldschlager. Just, guys, don't go around giving people syphilis in Columbus Day. Now, that's taking the holiday and the history lesson a little too far. Hey, thanks, guys. Legalize it. I'm Jim Patterson.
We have the leader of that movement. His name is N.A. Poe. He's with the Panic Hour, and he is a brave and courageous freedom fighter. Without further ado, give it up for N.A. Poe!
Thank you, Les. Thanks for putting this together as always. Les always puts me last. He expects me to be interesting for some reason. I don't know why. So this is going to be the end of it. So if you guys want to come in a little bit closer, this will be the end of the rally. We'll all wrap it up together. And say Martin Luther King was also fucking shot in the head by the government too. You understand that, right? So I'm kind of miserable lately. Is anyone else miserable lately because of the weather or anything like that? It's like, I'm like fucking sick. It's like it's hard for me to get out of bed today, and you know, I've just been like generally uninspired as of late. I mean, the federal government, like literally, I don't know if all you know my story, but I was arrested pretty violently by the government and put in jail, and they're up my ass, man. Like, the federal government is literally, has me banned 100 feet from the Liberty Bell. They have me pissing in cups, you know, and you know, they're fucking reading our Facebook page, man. Now when I started the Panic Hour, you know, I always wanted to draw an audience. I just never knew it would be the fucking NSA and, you know, the feds. So they're watching our Facebook page, man. So the other day when the government shut down, my good friend Scott said, hey man, let's say we're gonna do a smoke down today with the government shutdown. So we started the whole social media machine, and we went down there, and we weren't going down there to smoke. We went down there and there was 30 park rangers, and there was 30 Philly cops, and it just disgusts me that they're looking at our movement and then they're following it. So we, you know, I wanted to piss them off a little bit and let them know that a high school educated fucking comedian is shitting on the fucking federal government. And if a high school educated comedian can shit on the federal government, then the wrong fucking people are in charge. And, you know, I don't necessarily believe in political change, you know, in any other aspect of thing. I mean, like, you know, the way things are, like, they shut down, like, the federal parks, you know what I mean? Like, shut down the DEA, shut down, lay some cops off, because all I see cops doing in Philadelphia is standing around with their neck tattoos on their iPhones, looking at girls' asses when they get on the train. There's way too many of them. So we could lay a couple of those guys off. But, look, I'm a degenerate felon comedian. I can't vote, okay? Thank you. You guys, really, we need this, these rallies are great, but you guys need to pair up like Jehovah's Witnesses and go to people's houses and talk to them about marijuana. And show up, sing them fucking carols, and bring the book of marijuana to them. You get all hollow out Bibles and put a joint in there. And then show up at people's houses and like, I'm here to spread the good news. Open it up. And see how many people in their house to smoke a joint. Maybe we'll get them up and vote. But I had a conversation with John Hanger the other night for an hour on the radio, and like I said, I don't necessarily believe in politics, but John seems like a pretty rational guy. He's saying, hey, this is fucked up. People need medicine. Like I was saying, I'm a comedian. My friends, you know, we're messing around, but now this has turned into something real, so it's time to make something real out of it. Don't make me being put in prison and dealing with all this shit, you know, in vain. We're gonna do Smoke Down 10, October 26th. We're asking people to come down dressed up like in a Halloween type of fashion. How funny it would be if these pigs had to haul people off dressed like, I don't know, man. The most ridiculous thing possible. Just get dressed up, ridiculous, and come down and get involved. Tell more people to get involved. You know, like I said, I'm not going to vote, but John Hanger seems like a nice guy, man. Like, there's people with medical conditions. There's people that kids have medical conditions. There's veterans. These people need to come to the forefront. We need to support them. We need to get in politicians' faces. I really appreciate everyone that's involved in this movement. I feel like I'm involved in a beautiful family of fucking weirdos, and we're not always going to get along. But look, we need to put aside our differences, okay, and focus on the fact that we're trying to legalize marijuana. People think I am a fucking asshole. I am intolerable to work with. You know what? I want to get shit done. So I don't care who you are, if we get along or not, let's all band together, legalize marijuana, and then we'll just sit around and we'll smoke fucking marijuana for the rest of our lives. So, the kitty over here has some Panic Hour t-shirts. We have 3 lighter wraps, and there's some pins and shit like that. If you want anything, grab something. Come down to Philadelphia. Make a fucking phone call. The time it takes to roll a joint, my friend Jim Miller says, the time it takes to roll a joint, you could call one of these assholes in their office. The politicians are telling us directly, we're in Harrisburg, they're saying their phones aren't ringing. Shut off the fucking Cartoon Network, stop eating Captain Crunch, and pick up the goddamn phone and call these fucking assholes, alright?
Thanks for coming out to the very first annual Lancaster Hemp Harvest Rally. We're going to bring back hemp, we're going to put the hemp back in Hempfield, we're going to make it so that sick patients can have access to medical cannabis, and we're going to legalize the responsible adult consumption of cannabis for all people, for all purposes. And Roskin's can smoke it for spiritual purposes or whatever. But we're going to make that change. And today we came here to Lancaster Square, letting history note that we met on October 12th, 2013. The beginning of the end is here. We see hemp breaking out all over America. And we're going to change the laws in Pennsylvania and hasten the day when the national prohibition of cannabis and hemp falls.